welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Welcome back in. Here we are. This is episode. Am I too low? No, it's going up to the level 12 where I needed to go. I'll give you the secret to how the audio mostly works in the broadcast world. Minus 12 is typically where television outputs the level at which television outputs audio. Not television, not physical television, but like broadcasting. When I was at NBC News 11 Live here in Atlanta, Georgia, that's where we would aim for. And that's the secret. What's going on here? Okay. Just got an email where I do have to sign an NDA. It's not a job thing, but it is also... Oh, Christ, I don't have to find it. This is what happens when it goes to spam. 2:59 p.m. is when that was sent out. I'm going to keep that up. What's been going on? Well, I didn't do any podcasts this week for LinkedIn Logs and Late Night lately, mostly because Late Night is on. Well, a lot of shows are on hiatus. 3 out of the 5 shows that I cover are on hiatus. And then for LinkedIn Logs, I just wanted a week off. for Constitutionals, if I did not find the 3 stories that I found today, there's 4 in the show notes, but if I did not find 3 more, I would not have done it this week. There's a point where, sometimes if you don't do something, then you don't know. Then sometimes you'll just forget the steps on how to do it. I'm not saying that not doing 3 podcasts for a week would make me forget how to do the podcast, but at work, the things are shifting more towards the originals that we're putting out. So it's not a lot of, quite frankly, I'm not doing a lot of work right now. I'll just say that. And I asked, I was like, do you need help with anything? But I'm not doing a lot of work because they're about to launch a show. I'm not trying to be specific because no one needs to know where I work, but they're about to launch a show and it's going to be a big show. So, as one show of theirs ends its current season, which I think it already ended, and then this new show launches, and then upfronts are coming, I have to pay more attention to upfronts. So all that is to say is when I get an email regarding my regular duties, I'm like, what is this? How do I do this? I forgot how to do this. Who do I email? How do I put this into the thing? It's a lot like working out. I have on my workout app that I use that I will not say the name of because they stopped developing it. And I can't go anywhere else because if I export the workouts and the exercises and send it to Heavy, this other app, then they can only import 2,000 and I have like 4,000 workouts on there, which is ridiculous that you can't even import. Like you can't figure out how to import more. We'll only keep I'd suggest you go. This is what they did. I emailed them and it took them Heavy. I emailed Heavy and it took them a week and a half or 2 weeks to get back to me. And they apologized and I'm like, well, we suggest you go into the fit file and then because you have to export it to a .fit file. You have to go into the fit file and I'm gonna turn myself up here and just delete the first 2,000. And I was like, I tried that. It's ridiculous. The Masters are on right now. I told work we all, since everybody's remote, we all greet each other via Slack through a master thread, and then we have like little breakouts and everything. And I greeted the team via Slack this morning. Hey, I'm gonna let you know I'm watching the Masters. If you need anything, don't bother me. I'm sorry for the late responses. I didn't say don't bother me. And then my supervisor laughed and everybody else laughed. It's a big thing, and then we all made jokes about Happy Gilmore. We all had a good time. What else is going on? What else? What else? What else? This week, or in a couple of days, is the death anniversary of Nova. If you're watching the video, you do see another kitty cat in the background playing with her food. She jumped off the table. Yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. Watching the Masters and celebrating the life of Nova. And that's pretty much it. What else is going on? Can you not do that? Just eat it. I gave the new kitten, her name is Luna. I gave her a treat because Maverick got a treat because I pulled them from the porch, from the balcony because, quite frankly, it was warm outside. And I was doing yoga while watching the Masters and monitoring my laptop, my work laptop. And I was just, this is yin yoga, so I could, if something occurred at work, I could just pop up and be like, boop, boop, boop. But I kept the door open, and Luna came. They're both laying outside in the porch, or a balcony, or whatever. Luna, you know what I mean. Then Luna came in. They like to go in and out, which is pissing me off. Mostly because there's a broken net at the door. I know I should replace it, but Maverick destroyed it, I think, 2 years ago, and I just never replaced it. But there's so you can keep the door open, keep bugs out, but bugs will get in regardless. Anyway, Luna came in, and I was doing yoga. It was yin yoga, so it was more stretching, and I loved it. So I'm sitting there in a pose, quite frankly, looking at my phone, and basically watching golf and looking at my phone, and she had just pollen all over her. And I went, well, I'm going to be sneezing in the morning. What else is going on? What else? Well, the Masters are going well, and I'm enjoying this year's. I think I don't recall in years past watching the par 3 contest, but this year, since I was working from home and sitting here watching everything, I put on the par 3 contest, and boy, it's now that we're in an era of, and I hate saying era, now that we're in this world of having to compete with sports streaming and sports on cable and just getting sports everywhere, and companies thinking that it is important to have sports be more entertaining than they already are. But sweetheart, no ma'am. It's just frustrating to have to watch the locked out baseball games on streaming services. So by that I mean like the opening day baseball game, and having Bert Kreischer scream at you, or watching cartoonified sports like football games or hockey matches, and then for the par 3 contest in particular on the Masters, watching Bryson DeChambeau, a YouTube star Bryson DeChambeau, play with Kevin Hart or Jason Kelsey, not play with, Kevin Hart caddied for Bryson, or watch Jason Kelsey caddy for Akshay Bhatia, and just people I don't care. I like Kevin Hart. I love Kevin Hart. I love Akshay Bhatia. I don't give a shit about the other two. But it's just the par 3 contest, by all measure, it should just be about the families. I want to see Rory McIlroy's daughter Poppy hit a ball into the cup. That's it. I want to see wives play with husbands. I want to see girlfriends play with husbands. I want to see friends play with friends. I don't want to see celebrity try to be entertaining. It's not fun. What else can I say about the Masters? I have a friend at the gym. He was wearing a Masters hoodie, and I went, oh man, I love that hoodie. And we started. He's like, I'm going on Sunday. And I went, are you freaking kidding me? I was so jealous. You could see the ire in my eyes. And I just rattled off all of my knowledge about golf this season. I love golf, and the Masters is so interesting. The only way I texted somebody else. I said, Steve, if this, like look at the Masters this year. We're talking about that, and he said the only way that either of us is going to go is if one of us is famous or we know somebody in there, and that's not happening anytime soon. But in my interest of the Masters right now, I I looked at, if I were to go, I would love to go on a Sunday because that's when I go to the FedEx Championship. I prefer to go on a Sunday. And then I would probably leave at like 6 a.m., 6 or 7. Get there, see those beginning tee-offs of the finals, and then work my way around the course. Try to get good spots. It's going to be packed regardless. I was talking to another guy at the gym this morning about that too, and he said he went in like 2002 because he works in television as well. He's a little older than me, obviously, but he's a little older, and he went in 2002, and he was just telling me that it was just even crowded then, but. I just want to get the pimento sandwich and get a couple of disposable cameras and just take all these pictures because you're not allowed to have your phones in there or use your phones. And that'd be great. I think everybody should go. And then the Olympics are going to Los Angeles, and I was listening to Never Not Funny, which is celebrating its 20th anniversary as of tomorrow, with a 20-year stream live. You can watch it for free on YouTube. Anyway, I don't know why I'm advertising this. I was sent a message by the representation for Never Not Funny. Do you want to mention it? And I went, I don't have any room to mention it. Do you want to do a little write-up or a blurb? But I was like, no, I don't have any room on the website for that. But now I'm mentioning it. So you're welcome to their representation. Anyway, and I'll be watching that tomorrow after the Masters. What was I talking about? I don't know. I have to put my hours in. But it's just a weekend full of that. The pool opens tomorrow. My gym, my apartment pool opens tomorrow. It'll be fun. I'm not gonna go. I'll go during the week. I was also looking at tickets for Six the Musical is coming to Atlanta. This season of Broadway shows is fine. The Sound of Music is playing right now, I think, or maybe in a couple of weeks. But Six is at the end of the month. And I want to go. And I was looking at tickets because if you buy directly from Fox Theater, it's cheaper. I was looking at tickets. I don't sit in balconies. That's for poor people. I don't sit in balconies. I prefer to sit on the ground. And you know what? Here's the secret. Go to the Fox Theater website. Buy your ticket. It's going to be cheaper. Also, get one of the obstructed view seats. They're not that bad. I saw The King. That's the first show I saw at the Fox Theater was The King and I. That was, what year is it? 2026 now. That was probably in 2017, 2018. But I bought myself and my then girlfriend tickets to see that show, Obstructed View, far left stage right. Sorry, stage left, excuse me. Stage left, so I was way on the edge. And I prefer to sit on the aisle. So I was basically just way off. But it's great. I didn't miss much. I didn't miss, if anything, I didn't miss much. And then when I saw Hamilton, I was aisle seat. Oh, man, I got a really good seat then. I was maybe I was 5 seats back from the pit. So here's the pit. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I was like 5 seats back. This is like right after the pandemic. Like right after, it's like 2022 maybe or 2023. I know because I was wearing a mask. And the people around me were not. But I was aisle seat and I was just, boom, right there. That was good. I saw Chicago and I was thinking about this. I saw Chicago and that was one of 2 times where I was annoyed by the people around me. Was it Chicago or Moulin Rouge? One of those. I don't remember. It was probably Moulin Rouge. But anyway, we were sitting. We had good seats. We were sitting maybe 7 to 10 rows back from the pit, and like almost dead center orchestra right, and or yeah, off dead center orchestra right. So we were almost to the middle watching the show. There were beautiful seats. The women in front of us would not shut the fuck up, and to the point where at intermission, I went to I went to like one usher. I was like, I went to the most trustworthy, oldest. I said, hey, those women are not shutting up. And he's like, where? And I went, those motherfuckers. I didn't say that, but I pointed so hard, and they were still talking at intermission. And he's like, God, I went over there and they just would not stop talking. Blah blah blah. And he goes, you know what? I would do you a favor. And he moves, and it was so great. As everybody's sitting down, he's like, hey, we got new seats for you. And he takes us to the pit. And it was the most beautiful section. I guess the people that were sitting there left or whatever, but he takes us there and he goes, there you go. And I was like, whoa, this is amazing. And we're like right there. He spits flying off the stage. It was great. And then the other time that it really pissed me off was Mean Girls. And I guess this woman brought her son, who was maybe 10 or 11 years old. He was a tween. And he was watching the show, and her ass was on Etsy, just scrolling. And I remember leaning forward, and I said, get off your phone. And she thought I was an usher. She put it down so quick. And I leaned back. But she was just like scrolling, because I could see the light in her face. Just, oh my gosh. Oh, I saw the Super Mario Galaxy movie. That's what I saw. I saw a Super Mario Galaxy movie, and, don't... go do reviews if you want. I don't really care. I tried not to listen to anything, but it doesn't matter. It's a child movie, and it's made by Illumination. So if it's a sequel to an Illumination movie, it's never going to be as good as the first. I'll tell you this. It was a 6:30 movie at AMC in the Dolby Cinema. Usually, the movie starts 25 to 30 minutes after. I walked in at the 21 or 22 minute mark, and that thing had already started. I was like, shit. But I only missed like maybe like a minute or two. But Rosalina was reading. It starts with her reading a story to the Lumas. Anyway, I liked it. I did not like it as much as the first one. The first one, they're very similar. Wherein the first one is making references to games and tongue-in-cheek stuff, and there's cameos from other characters and everything. And the second movie does the same thing to a detriment, and the needle drops are much more prevalent. We don't need. I'm so sick of needle drops. I think besides puns, needle drops are the bottom of the barrel of entertainment. I bought Turning. I've spoken about how much I do not like the movie Turning Red, and it's mostly because of the needle drops. But I bought that movie again. I bought it just so I could be like. Well, also I'm collecting all the Pixar movies and all the Disney movies. I just bought Tarzan and Oliver and Company. Anyway, they're on sale, $5. Might as well. But the needle drops are just so just horrible. Anyway, this Super Mario Galaxy movie was just like a bunch of disparate stories cobbled together, and it didn't make sense in a lot of places, and it felt like. It's 98 minutes long, and it could have used 10 minutes of a lot of inserted scenes to get characters to meet up. Because there's a lot of instances where the A plot is Bowser Jr. kidnaps Rosalina. Okay, so that's one. And then Peach and Toad go off to rescue Rosalina. That's two. Mario, Bowser, Luigi, and Yoshi go to rescue Peach. Go to find Peach and Toad. That's three. There's and the way that they piece these things together is not good. It just seems like they were trying to get to set pieces more so. Like, hey, we're gonna have the Super Mario 2 villains be a part of this. Let's put Wart in it. Oh my gosh. Hey, let's visit the Honey Hive Galaxy for 2 seconds, which is and have Issa Rae as the Honey Queen, and then let's have Bowser hang out there for 3 seconds, and then suddenly he's no longer there and he's with Bowser Jr. Let's have Bowser do a heel turn. Let's have Bowser do 2 heel turns. Doesn't make sense. And then just a shoehorn Fox McCloud in there. I enjoyed it, but I didn't expect much from it. And I hope it does well enough for them to make a third movie and to look back at the second movie and go, all right, let's tighten this up. I'm very surprised the Nintendo would allow for this to be this loose. Also, what was interesting is there's 2 post-credit sequences. Only one of them matters. Post-credit sequences, rather. Only one of them matters, and it's at the very end. So I sat through all of the credits, and I'm reading the credits. And one of the needle drop songs is produced by none other than Sean Diddy Combs. I thought that was very, very funny. And I saw Sean Combs, and I went, ugh. I don't know why you would use that song. Oh my gosh. Because he's going to get paid. That's it. Also, I think I'm being bullied into watching the show R.J. Decker. Every time on Hulu, I just see commercials for R.J. Decker all the time. That's all the commercials I see is R.J. Decker. So you know what? I added it to the list today. All right, let's get on with this first story. This one, oh, good Lord. OBS is so finicky. Okay. This one comes from IGN, written by Tom Phillips. Amazon Luna will no longer allow owners to buy games, access game stores, or third-party subscriptions starting today. In a drop that surprised me, Amazon is no longer allowing any kind of third-party access to Luna, which is so bewildering, beguiling, being. In an email sent out to Luna owners this morning, Amazon said it was removing the ability to buy games or access game stores like EA, Ubisoft, and GOG. Already purchased games will still be playable for now, and then you'll lose access to those by June 10th. After that date, those games will no longer be accessible through Luna. So you'll have to go to those stores in order to play them or download their players. Because with EA, Ubisoft, and GOG, you have to download those stupid access. What are those things called? Whatever, doesn't matter. There's an FAQ on the changes. Amazon said it would not be offering refunds for purchases of, quote, a la carte titles through Luna, as you'll still be able to access games via their linked third-party accounts. Amazon said it was, quote unquote, evolving Luna's offering as it has heard user feedback that it should prioritize, quote, easy access to great games. I guess what that means is, without reading on anymore, is that they see these third-party launchers, is the word I was looking for. They see these third-party launchers, and they are hard to deal with. If you have a Steam Deck, for instance, having a third-party launcher on there is difficult to deal with. For a lot of, I know EA and Ubisoft games are tough to launch on the Steam Deck. You have to do a lot of back-end configuring. And by back-end configuring, I mean there's more steps to take, as opposed to downloading directly from Steam or downloading directly from, where do I download games from? Steam, mostly. I guess even Epic Store. But yes, you can access the EA games and Ubisoft games in different ways, and same thing for GOG games via the Heroic game launcher. I use that for games that aren't on Steam, but even still, that's just another step. So it wants as Tom Phillips editorializes here, Amazon wants to recenter Luna on its content available as part of its Prime subscription, which it said it is quote, where we are focusing our future. I don't know. Luna customers are being offered a free Luna Premium subscription, although it's unclear how long this will last. Oh, what's Luna Premium? The changes come just a day after Amazon said it was removing support for new. Okay, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. This is creating a walled garden doesn't necessarily make people want to use it more often. And it's the same thing that, Apple TV. I'm going to sneeze at some point. Excuse me. But it's the same thing that I feel about Apple TV, where I don't want to buy movies specifically on Apple TV because the only way I have access to my library to Apple TV is via the Apple TV app on the television or my iPad or my Mac, but I'm never going to watch something on my Mac. Now, when I look at my phone Apple TV on the Apple TV app, because it's an Android phone, I can only watch their original stuff. Whereas for Vudu or Movies Anywhere, I can watch those anywhere, and like at any point, wherever, and get access to the special features and whatnot. And that's why I buy things on Apple TV, for special features. That's where I bought not Tombstone, not The Quick and the Dead, Young Guns. I just named 3 westerns. I love westerns. But the reason I would buy something on Apple TV is if it has iTunes extras, and I was like, all right, well, the only place I can access it are limited. The only places I can access it are limited. All right, let's move on. This next one comes from ESPN. Sources: DOJ opens antitrust investigation of NFL over TV deals. ESPN News Services, I guess that is their AP wire. The Justice Department has begun an investigation into whether the NFL has violated anti-competitive practices with its television contracts that require consumers to pay subscription costs to watch games. Sources have confirmed to ABC News. This is important. The government is finally fighting for you. Wall Street Journal first reported the news, writing that the, quote, nature and scope of the Justice Department's investigation were unknown. Now, this is important. I spoke about streaming and watching sports. For the Masters, for instance, Amazon has joined the fray for coverage. CBS is the primary coverage person on the weekends for the Masters, and there's also Amazon. You can watch some Masters coverage, but not complete, on ESPN, Disney Plus, Hulu, and ABC. I think ABC. But then there's also NBC also has some golf rights. So this is and also I think it's on Peacock as well. So that's 4 different places, 3 different companies that have access to air the Masters. For NFL, it's much, much worse. There's ESPN and ABC, NBC Sports, CBS Sports, Prime Video, and Netflix. Certain games are at certain places. The NFL contracts, subscriptions are required to watch Monday Night Football games on ESPN that aren't simulcast on ABC, Thursday Night Football and the Black Friday game on Prime Video, Christmas games on Netflix. Some international games air on NFL Network, which is now owned by ESPN. Select postseason games also require subscriptions. The NFL has also awarded select games to ESPN Plus and Peacock in the past. If you remember, a couple of games were on Peacock alone just this past season. The NFL has an antitrust exemption for the negotiating of its television contracts through the Sports Broadcast Act of 1961, which only applies to broadcast television. Courts have ruled in the past that it does not apply to other media, including cable, satellite, and streaming, which is why this was allowed to slip through the cracks. All games, however, air free on local stations in the broadcast markets of the teams playing. So here in Atlanta, I get most, if not all, of the home Falcons games. The NFL, of course, said that, hey, we got a lot. 87% of our games are free on broadcast television. This past season was the most viewed season since 1989, and quote unquote reflects the strength of the NFL distribution model and its wide availability to fans. But that's the thing, fans, especially with ESPN Unlimited now, this new ESPN direct to consumer ESPN offering, people were kind of duped into being able to watch and subscribe. Yes, they already have Netflix. People, if you subscribe to Amazon Prime, you get Prime Video already. So people already had these things, but it can only go so far as to, and we'll talk about this later in these next couple of stories, but people can only go so far as to how many subscriptions they have and how often they keep paying attention to them. When I for Formula One, as much as I opine having to only have Apple TV for Formula One, which is not something I do. I'm not having Apple TV just for Formula One, but that's what some people are doing, because that's where they're going to have to watch Formula One for the next 5 years. Same thing with is it Club League Soccer with like Inter Miami and the Atlanta United and the rest of those. You can pretty much, besides watching your local games on broadcast television, pretty much, and not broadcast, not I know there is here on our affiliate owned CBS, but there's not affiliated CBS, which is now Atlanta News First, but you can also watch it on Fox Sports 1, I believe, but soccer. Or some of those games. Anyway, see, it's splintered. So you can watch those games on Apple TV, all of those. And then same thing for, I believe, Paramount Plus, has a lot of soccer games. And then Peacock has a lot of soccer games, but there's different clubs and different leagues. It's all over the place. Senator Mike Lee, who is the chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee's Subcommittee on Antitrust, Competition Policy, and Consumer Rights, wrote a letter to the Justice Department and the Federal Trade Commission on March 3rd, urging them to review whether the NFL's distribution methods are in line with the Sports Broadcasting Act. Lee said in his letter that football fans spent almost $1,000 on cable and streaming subscriptions. That's also probably including Sunday Ticket. Forbes estimated the cost of watching every NFL game via streaming last season was $765. It makes sense. Remember, those four places, probably a cable subscription and NFL Sunday Ticket that you can only get through, not probably, definitely a cable subscription with YouTube TV. We agree. We agree with each other. This is something they need to attack now, because the deals with the NFL for ESPN in particular run through 2033 and most other outlets 2034. There's an opt-out clause the league has after 2029, which is likely to exercise since 83 of the top 100 broadcasts last year were NFL games, according to Nielsen. So if they're not capped, or if they're not tried, if the Justice Department doesn't do anything, the NFL could come back and be like, "Hey, we want more money, ESPN. We want more money, Amazon. We want more money, YouTube TV." Hey. Now, continuing off of that, take a little side quest. This comes from Alex Weprin at The Hollywood Reporter. YouTube Premium raises prices for the first time since 2023. It's raising by $2 per month. You're not getting anything with these raises, in the same way that when Netflix raises its prices in a couple of, I think in the next pay period, you're not getting a better platform. And yes, it's the first time in 3 years, but Now this price is just increasing at a time where people can't afford much more. So YouTube Premium is now $16 per month, with Music and Premium Lite raising by $1 per month to $12 and $9 respectively. The family plan is raising by $4 a month to $27. But that's up to 6 people in the same household. Still, that's still a lot. Now, with YouTube Premium, you do get access to YouTube Music. So you're essentially paying $8 for YouTube and $8 for YouTube Music. But you're not getting much more, except for, added AI features. Like they added AI voiceover dubbing. Like if your video releases in English and someone who speaks German wants to watch it in their native language, then they could do that, or in Spanish, or in Mandarin. But it's an AI voice. I don't want that. Continuing off of that. Oh wait, hold on. And then also the Premium Lite, I believe, is an ad-supported thing. Yes, I was right. Netflix raised the monthly prices for all of its plans by $1 to $2 per month. Prime Video raised the cost of its ad-free thing by $2 per month, and Spotify raised the cost of its core plan to $13 in January. There is very big discrepancies between the ad-supported and the non-ad-supported stuff. I do Netflix with ads, and that's $9. But the next tier is standard, no 4K, $20. Jesus. These, if you're watching the video, you can see this chart that is provided by Weprin and the Hollywood Reporter. It is these discrepancies are vast in a lot of cases. Prime, is it $20 per month just for Prime Video, no ads? Is so stupid. Oh my gosh. And then eventually when HBO Max folds into Paramount Plus, remember the Paramount Plus, the worst version of it is going to get the worst platform is going to get the best stuff from HBO Max. Ugh. Now Weprin wrote a new piece today that came out today on Hollywood Reporter called "Streamflation Might Be Nearing a Crisis Point." As the monthly cost of streaming subscriptions keeps creeping up, alongside gas, groceries, and seemingly everything else, consumers will be forced to make tough choices. Now, you may hear that and say, well, we don't have to, I don't want to subscribe to things. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't have to do that. But in a lot of cases, just in the same way as it is difficult to watch every football game, or to watch every basketball game, or to watch every golfing tournament. Those are the sports I like. You have to subscribe to these platforms in order to get access. Just even have the privilege to get to that. And it stinks. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying I do it for everything. This does seem anti-consumer. But what are we getting out of this? U.S. government inflation data released in January by the Bureau of Labor Statistics said that, quote, subscription and rental of video and video games saw inflation by 19.5% in December. Xbox Game Pass went up in price. I assume at some point both Nintendo Switch Online, and PlayStation Plus will see a rise in costs. Inflation Watch. Oh my gosh. Yeah, 19.5% compared to, here's a chart if you're watching the video. Compared to purchase, subscription, and rental of video, that rose 7.6%. Admission to movie theaters and concerts, that rose 2.4%. Recorded music and music subscriptions went up by 1.1%. Comparatively to everything else, those are gigantic leaps. In order to have everything, you're probably, I have almost everything. I mean, I have YouTube, YouTube Premium, Netflix, HBO, but also keep in mind that I'm also paying the lowest tiers for that, and a lot of these are Black Friday deals. Like HBO, I'm paying $3 per month for ads. Same thing for Hulu and Disney Plus. I think I'm paying like 4 or 5. Might even be 6. I think it's 6 because I think it totals out to be $10 plus Netflix, which is 9, which is crazy. Oh my gosh! And then Apple TV, and then on top of that, splitting YouTube TV. So I go this information from Deloitte says that the average household spends $69 on up top, my brother, on streaming services per month, essentially flat from last year. It suggests that consumers are churning more or downgrading to ad tiers or finding other ways to keep their monthly entertainment spend stable. I also read a piece, I think last week or the week before, where it discussed how ad-supported services are basically forcing users to upgrade because of how many ads they play or how many ad breaks. Right now, I'm watching The Shield as I work out. So I'm on the bike, or I'm on the rower, or I'm on the treadmill, and I have The Shield playing, and as I'm watching it, they'll do the last time on The Shield, and then it'll go to commercial break. I swear to God. It's so annoying. And it really stinks when I'm on the tread because I think Peloton tread classes are very bad. Anyway, but I'll try to start the class. I'll try to start the episode early. While because I just don't, I know it'll go to break. It's so dumb. I hate it so much. I like The Shield. I hate that it goes to break as soon as the episode starts, more or less. And then usually on for Netflix shows, for kids shows, because I'm watching Pokemon right now. Pokemon Horizons, is that what it is? I don't know. They just released like 10 new episodes, but they don't play commercials on that because you're not supposed to play commercials on kid stuff. So I like to watch a lot of cartoons because I don't see a lot of commercials. And then if I watch YouTube TV, if I put YouTube TV on and I just leave like Disney Channel on or Cartoon Network or FX or something, the commercial breaks are just incessant. My goodness. Deloitte's media trends survey also revealed that more than 6 in 10 respondents said they would cancel their favorite streaming service if the monthly price rose by $5. And 73% said they are frustrated that the prices of their entertainment subscriptions keep rising, underscoring the delicate balance at play. You can't, and as I sat down and I was opening up these pieces just to refresh my memory, the option that a lot of these companies have and the suggestions they would have would be to not merge services, but have packages. Apple TV now partners up with Peacock, and you can get both for $15 a month. There's Disney and Hulu, but then eventually Hulu is going to be folded into Disney Plus, so whatever, that's going to happen. There's different versions, different packages, but you can also get cheaper versions of those platforms via Verizon or T-Mobile or Comcast Xfinity. Sometimes you get those for free. With Comcast Xfinity, I believe you get free Peacock. With Verizon and some T-Mobile plans, I believe you get free Netflix or free Disney Plus. But there's no point in having that, paying $90 to T-Mobile or Verizon when you don't even open up the apps in the first place. If it weren't for The Boys or Invincible, I would not be opening up Prime Video right now. Maybe to watch Bait. Oh, definitely watch Crime 101. I'm so excited. I need to carve out 2.5 hours to watch that movie, but I'm so excited. I just watched Mercy while I was doing an hour-long cycling class. Mercy starring Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. And you know what? I didn't hate it. In fact, once the cycling class ended, and then I was also this pissed me off. Peloton usually when on a Saturday where they have Matt Wilpers do a live class and they have Aditi is that her name? Aditi Shaw, my beautiful bride. I'm sorry, I forgot your name, sweetie. When they have Aditi do a live yoga class, they typically put them basically next to each other in time slots. So it'd be like 8 to 9 for Matt, and then 9:15 to whatever for Aditi. But this, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they put last week. Yeah, because I pulled down the rower. So last week they did Matt at like 8, and then ended him at 9, and then the DT's class is at 9:55. And I went, what am I going to do for 55 minutes? So I pulled down the rower and on a Saturday morning, and I rode for 30 minutes. I did a 30-minute class, and then I got back up, and I was like, well, I still have 20 minutes. Meandered around a little bit. Oh my gosh. The first world problems, really, truly. Then I'm able to get off a bike and then put that away, and then get on a rower, and then put that away and get on a yoga mat. I think we're reaching a breaking point. I think there's a bubble, as I indicated in the show notes. I think there's a bubble, and I think we've reached the apex of what people are going to do for streaming. People aren't jumping to Peacock. No one, the numbers aren't rising for Peacock. I think people will stick with what they like. And if it's Netflix, which I think it is, if it's going to be Netflix and Apple TV, because Apple TV is so accessible to people, and you know who in America to the very least, who are the people that have Apple TV? Typically, it's people with Apple products. If you're in the Apple ecosystem, then I guarantee you have Apple TV and Apple Music. But I think people are tired of it, and this is something that companies need to pay attention to. Netflix can raise its prices, but Paramount Plus can't, and HBO can't, because people aren't. HBO Max is no longer the second arm that people that the company thinks that it is. It's going to be people will keep. I predict people will just keep Netflix and Disney Plus, and those will be the two that people want. And then obviously YouTube is the most watched platform right now of all time. So I'm not saying people will pay for YouTube, but people will watch YouTube on their television, and then maybe people will just be tired and go, you know what? Let me get a pay TV streamer. So let me get I think if Hulu with live TV still exists, after it folds into Disney Plus, then they'll get that, or they'll get Fubo, or they'll get YouTube TV. But these prices are getting, we have reached the apex, and I think we will see a big downfall. But the only one to survive will be Netflix and Disney. I hope the merger for Paramount and Warner doesn't go through. I do. Now that it's so fascinating to see people talk about, oh, I didn't know the money behind it. Yeah, you knew the fucking money behind it. It's Saudi money, it's Chinese investors, and they don't have what's best for the company in mind. It's just going to be a propaganda machine. All right, I'm done. Listen, if you liked what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to celebrities. There was no interviews for these past 2 weeks, but we'll be having one next week. You'll like it. It was fun. They were fun. If you want to see a video version of those interviews, as well as a video version of this podcast, as well as a video version of the other two podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the jobs and business news podcast. Go to youtube.com/C+Comedy, where you can see all the video that I've ever done. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at C+ Comedy on Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Follow me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Rest in peace, Nova. Bye.